Storm Dennis has been lashing large parts of the UK, bringing rain and strong winds. 3 severe flood warnings have been issued in Scotland, meaning that there is a danger to life, while more than 250 flood warnings are in place across England and Wales. As we heard, a red weather warning has also been issued, particularly in South Wales, and some people in parts of the Scottish borders have been told to leave their homes because of rising water levels.
Let's speak right now to Mark McLaughlin from the Scottish Environment Protection Agency, who's in Glasgow for us this morning. And will you just give us the latest update, what's going on at the moment?
Yeah, good morning. It's been a very challenging night across many parts of Scotland as we saw Storm Dennis pass across the country, bringing with it very strong wind and periods of prolonged and very heavy rainfall. It's very widespread rainfall, and that combined with melting snow and ground that's already heavily saturated meant that we saw flood disruption across a wide number of areas across Scotland last night. We saw flooding of properties in Tayside. We've seen a number of towns in the Perth and Kinross area affected, and we've seen significant disruption to travel across the country as well. But our primary focus overnight was in the south of the country, particularly in the Scottish Borders region, where with river levels rising really rapidly across the day, there was a significant risk of flooding in the towns of Hawick and Newcastleton, and indeed yesterday evening both those towns experienced some severe flooding, to the point that the local authority did recommend to residents that they evacuate their properties, and a number of people did spend the night in rest centres and with family and friends. So it's been a very challenging night overall. At one point we had 15 flood alerts, regional flood alerts live across the country, 49 flood warnings, and those 3 severe flood warnings for Hawick and Newcastleton. So a very challenging and widespread disruption across Scotland over the last 24 hours or so.
Yeah, it really sounds like it's been a pretty tough time for many people. Do you know how many households or people have been affected directly by the flooding?
In terms of Scottish Borders, we know that in Hawick, the local authority there, which has been on the ground, and we've been working very closely in liaison with the authority through the week in the lead up to Storm Dennis's arrival. So it's really having a good, strong, open dialogue with them on what the effects could be and are likely to be. We do know that they spoke to residents in about a dozen streets, so we don't know the actual number of residents, but certainly a widespread area and a significant number of people who've potentially been affected.
Let's just look ahead a little bit as well, because what about the hours to come? Have you got concerns?
So we still have some concerns. The worst of the rain has certainly passed, but there are forecasts still for heavy showers, and where river levels are already high or there is already standing water and flooded ground, we could see further impacts and further localised disruption. There remains enforced by the Met Office a yellow warning for wind. So that again could still bring some disruption, localised disruption to the coast, particularly the west coast, and specifically the Firth of Clyde and the Solway Firth. So we could again see some localised disruption or impacts to low-lying land or properties, particularly on those exposed western coasts.
And just really quickly, I suppose, what is your advice to people who are in danger of flooding or near floodwaters?
We certainly advise people to keep up to date with the latest flooding situation by visiting the SEPA website, and clearly where there is localised flooding there could be travel disruption, so we really do recommend that people do avoid driving through floodwater, to try and avoid those areas altogether, and above all be cautious and don't take any risks.
Well, listen, thank you very much for that very comprehensive update from Mark McLaughlin from the Scottish Environment Protection Agency.